If you run your mouth at Caitlin Clark, you better pray your game can cash the check your lips just wrote, because history says you're about to get humbled. Caitlin Clark isn't the type to scream back, to chest bump, or to fake tough guy energy. No, she hits you where it hurts most, the scoreboard. And the receipts? They pile up faster than a fast break. Tonight, we're breaking down 3 times players decided to trash talk Caitlin Clark, and the basketball gods hit them with instant karma.
Sorry, Angel Reese, the $5 million offer was only for Caitlin Clark.
If you love watching Caitlin Clark shut down the doubters, comment Queen Caitlin below, and let's see how many of us are riding with her all the way. Let's start with Angel Reese's taunt and backlash. She was the villain controversy wrapped inside celebration. In the 2023 NCAA Women's Championship game, LSU's Angel Reese pulled off one of the most iconic trash talk gestures in recent memory. As the clock wound down, she made the infamous "you can't see me" gesture toward Caitlin Clark, then pointed to her finger to hint at a championship ring. This moment sparked firestorms across social media and was widely debated as unsportsmanlike, but Clark herself defended Reese, calling the criticism overblown and pointing out that she had made a similar gesture earlier in the tournament and didn't get the same backlash. At the root of it all was a deeper conversation. Many critics called out how Reese, a black athlete, was vilified for behavior that Clark, a white athlete, was praised for laying bare uncomfortable double standards in sports culture. The taunt didn't just raise eyebrows, it launched a rivalry. That moment became a defining flashpoint in the media-driven saga of Clark versus Reese. The fallout in Caitlin's reaction, media frenzy escalated as fans and pundits expressed outrage, while others highlighted how Clark's own trash talk had gone largely unnoticed. Clark undercut the chatter, saying, "She shouldn't be criticized, I've done the same, and there were no headlines." Commentators pointed out that the harsher treatment Reese received was part of a bigger pattern in how athletes are judged differently depending on who they are. Angel Reese's gesture wasn't forgotten. It helped ignite widespread discussions about inequality, media framing, and bias in women's sports. And yet, the rivalry was now set in stone. Every meeting between them after that moment carried extra weight, extra eyes, extra storylines, extra tension. It wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about pride, perception, and proving who could own the biggest stage without flinching. The best part? Everyone knew there would be another chapter, and when these two finally met again, fans weren't just watching for the score, they were watching for the next viral moment. Earlier this year, Ice Cube shook up the sports world when he publicly offered Caitlin Clark a deal reportedly worth up to $15 million to join his BG3 league. It was a headline-grabbing move, the kind of offer that had sponsors buzzing, fans debating, and even NBA players chiming in. But then came the real shock. When Cube was asked if he'd make the same offer to Caitlin's rival, Angel Reese, his answer was blunt. "No," he said. "Our sponsors told us Caitlin would bring millions to the league. They didn't tell us that about Angel." No hesitation, no sugarcoating, just straight business. For Reese, it was a public snub from one of the most influential names in entertainment. She's an NCAA champion, an all-star, a cultural figure in her own right. But in Cube's eyes, the math didn't add up. And just like that, the conversation exploded. Was this an unfair dismissal of Reese's value? Or was it the cold truth about what really drives opportunity in professional sports? Ask ChatGPT. Let's talk about the second story, Chennedy Carter's shoulder check backfires. It was supposed to be just another regular season game, Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky. 2 franchises heading in different directions, 2 fan bases with plenty to say, and one rookie in Caitlin Clark who seemed to draw a spotlight wherever she went. But early in the third quarter, that spotlight turned into a magnifying glass, and Chennedy Carter was about to get burned. Clark wasn't even part of the play. The ball was nowhere near her. She was jogging toward the wing, head on a swivel, spacing the floor like she had 1,000 times before. And then out of nowhere, Carter came flying in from behind, delivering a hard off-ball shoulder check that sent Clark stumbling forward. No basketball play, no swipe at the ball, no attempt to establish position, just a blindside hit. The sound of the collision cut through the arena noise. Clark staggered, caught herself, and looked around in disbelief. The whistle? Silence. No foul. No technical. The officials let play continue like nothing had happened. For a split second, the crowd didn't even know how to react. But then the murmurs started, and within seconds, it was a chorus of boos. Fans were on their feet, pointing toward the floor, yelling at the refs. Clark's teammates threw their arms up in protest. The Fever bench was livid. By the time the next dead ball rolled around, the clip was already making the rounds online. Slow-motion replays hit social media within minutes, each angle showing the same thing: Clark running a clean route to her spot, Carter veering off her path, and driving a shoulder into her back. People weren't debating if it was intentional, they were debating how 3 referees missed it. Clark didn't retaliate. She didn't shove back or start barking in Carter's face. She just got up, reset, and kept playing. But there was a shift in the building, in the broadcast, even in the way the Fever attacked possessions after that. Every trip down the floor had a little more bite. Every screen set for Clark was a little harder. The crowd was now fully locked in, waiting for her to get the ball. And when she did, she responded in the best way possible, burying a three from deep and forcing Chicago to call timeout. No words, no stare down, just a dagger. The next day, the WNBA office stepped in. After reviewing the footage, the league retroactively assessed Carter a flagrant foul and fined her. It wasn't just a quiet slap on the wrist, it was a public statement. Sports talk shows lit up with the story. Carter went from being known as a fiery competitor to being labeled by some as the league's new dirty player. The ripple effects came fast. In the following games, Carter's minutes dipped noticeably. On the road, every time she checked in, the boos followed her. The shoulder check replay was everywhere, on highlight shows, on fan accounts, in slow-motion edits with dramatic music. The moment had taken on a life of its own, and through it all, Clark just kept playing, kept putting up numbers, kept drawing record TV ratings and sellout crowds. The hit didn't slow her down, it gave her another chapter in a rookie season that was already turning into must-watch TV. For Carter, though, that one play became a cautionary tale. In the WNBA spotlight, one cheap shot can define you for an entire season. And in this case, it turned into a clip that might follow her for the rest of her career. Do you want me to also layer in crowd quotes, TV commentary reactions, and fan social media posts into this so it feels even more like the viewer is inside the moment while it's happening? That would make it even more gripping. Now, third example is of Diana Taurasi's reality check gets flipped. Before Caitlin Clark even played her first WNBA game, Diana Taurasi, one of the most decorated players in league history, had a message for her. Reality is coming. You look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come play with grown women. It was classic Taurasi, confident, blunt, and dripping with veteran swagger. The media ate it up, framing it as a warning shot to the league's biggest rookie. When their first regular season meeting finally arrived, the stage was set. Phoenix Mercury versus Indiana Fever. Clark versus the White Mamba. First half, Taurasi played the role of the savvy vet perfectly. Physical defense, little bumps off the ball, and constant talking. She hit an early three, smiled at Clark, and the Mercury crowd roared. Clark stayed quiet, not just in words, but on the scoreboard. She struggled to find her rhythm, finishing the first half with single-digit points. Taurasi's reality check looked real. Second half, everything changed. Clark started attacking off the dribble, finding her spots, and spacing the floor for deep threes. With each basket, you could feel the energy shift. Fourth quarter, Fever down by 4. Clark nailed back-to-back threes from well beyond the arc. Taurasi tried to answer but came up empty. Clark pushed the pace, set up teammates for easy buckets, and suddenly the Fever were in control. The karma. By the final buzzer, Indiana had the win. Clark finished with a game high in points and assists. Taurasi was held scoreless in the fourth quarter. After the game, Clark was asked about the preseason comments. She smiled and simply said, "I respect her a lot. I just try to compete every night. No gloating, no clapback, just scoreboard justice." Taurasi's reality check had flipped into a reminder. The rookie could dish it out on the court, and she didn't need to say a word to make her point. And that's the thing about Caitlin Clark. You can foul her, you can shove her, you can try to knock her off her game, but you can't stop her. So the next time a player thinks they can intimidate her, they might want to check the highlight reel because history says it's not going to end well for them.